So you're a total slasher fan and you want to make sure you've seen the best of what the subgenre has to offer. Or maybe you're just getting into horror movies and want a quick overview of the slasher subgenre because it's so popular, and believe me, it's my favorite subgenre. Today we're going to talk about 5 movies which are the best example of what slashers can do. We're going to talk about the OG that started it all. We're going to talk about a perfect example of a slasher, some slashers from the heyday of slashing, and also a modern example of a slasher. Be sure to stick around for the end where I throw in one must-see wildcard slasher. Let's get started. Welcome to Dread Alert. I'm Vince. If you like horror movies, be sure to like this video and follow us for more horror content.
Dread Alert Media.
The first slasher movie ever is up for debate a little bit. A lot of people say it's Psycho from 1960, but there is a movie in 1960 that came out a little earlier than Psycho, and that is Peeping Tom. It's about a repressed young photographer who has a tripod with a hidden blade that he uses on his victims. He's mainly interested in exploring fear because that's what his psychiatrist father did to him, filming his reactions to unsavory events. Now, as an adult, he does the same thing to a much darker degree. Peeping Tom is a great example of an early slasher, but it is a proto-slasher. It's not quite a slasher. You also may want to check out Bava's Bay of Blood as another proto-slasher. Those are 3 for you right there. On to the most iconic slasher. This has got to be, for me, 1978's Halloween. Now, you could make an argument for 1974's Black Christmas or 1980's Friday the 13th. Not that there's anything wrong with any of these other slasher movies or franchises, I just happen to prefer Michael Myers. Next up we have slashers at their peak, the height of the slasher film, and there are a ton that you can choose from here. I chose A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 because I think that's a really great example of when slashers hit their stride. They started to incorporate a little bit of humor, and they were still very scary. Now, if you go too far forward, you're going to run into Friday the 13th Part 6, which really jams in the humor. And if you go too far back, the subgenre is still finding its footing. I really think A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 is the perfect example of what a slasher was at its heyday. Now, you could also watch Friday the 13th Part 4, which is the perfect Friday the 13th movie. You could watch Child's Play Part 2, which is after Chucky's been unmasked as a killer doll, so we jump right into the action. There are a ton of great movies from this period, and there are a ton of low-budget, under-the-radar slashers from this period too, but you can't deny the influence that Freddy Krueger had. He was a cultural icon, and Part 3 really nails it. For a modern slasher, I would recommend Terrifier 2, but if you can't handle the gore, there are some other really great modern slashers. In fact, slashers are starting to make a really big comeback. You could check out Heart Eyes or Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a really savvy and contemporary slasher, and Heart Eyes blends rom-com in to make it more of a fun hybrid movie, although I don't think that the rom-com aspect takes away anything from the slashing aspect. It's a really solid slasher, and I had a ton of fun with it. Lastly, the moment you've all been waiting for, what is my must-watch wildcard pick on this list of 5? And that's going to be 1996's Scream. This movie is perfect for a horror lover because not only is it a film, it's an encyclopedia of horror movies. If you want a quick education in the horror genre as a whole, watch Scream and take notes because it's going to give you a ton of movies that you should be following up on. Not only that, the meta aspects of the film are very fun and funny, and the characters are very believable because Scream did the impossible. It took the outlandish slashers from the 80s and brought them back to reality in our world, where the kids watched the same movies we grew up on, and allowed it to be scary again. Now, say what you will about the sequels, some people love them, like me, and some people don't, but Scream, the original, is almost a perfect slasher movie, and it revitalized the subgenre for another 10 years. What's your favorite slasher movie? Did this list cover all the high points for you? Are you going to check any of these movies out that you may not have seen already? Let us know in the comments. And as always, stay spooky, my friends.